Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to my Boxing Day preview of Premier League and Championship action, and starting off with a mid-table clash at Villa Park. Aston Villa take on Crystal Palace. Villa going alright at the moment. Great win against West Bromwich last time out. They'll win on a high after that. Palace, they really need to recover after that embarrassing loss to Liverpool, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. I don't think they'll lose. They'll be right up for this after that game, so I'm going to say 1 apiece. Fulham take on Southampton at Craven Cottage in a game that's quite interesting actually. Fulham haven't been too bad recently. They seem to be picking up the odd result here and there, which is what they really need to do if they want to have a chance of survival. Southampton in 6, they're just going so well at the moment. They're just on a great run. Can't see it ending anytime soon. I do think they will have a bit too much for Fulham, so I'm going to say 2-1 to the Saints. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal take on Chelsea in a desperate need of a result. Another loss this weekend, this time away to Everton. Chelsea with a win against West Ham, which is really good for them, just lifting them up into playoffs after a bit of an iffy run. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Arsenal have to be right up for this. Arteta's job is possibly on the line, so I'm going to say 1 apiece. I can see Arsenal just scraping a result, even though Chelsea will probably be the better side. Man City host Newcastle next at the Etihad. Man City this season is just really not going too well for them, is it at all? They got a good win against Southampton, hopefully that can kickstart it. Newcastle, they're very hit and miss this season, but I do think against a team like Man City, Man City will have far too much for them, which is why I'm going to predict Man City go back to their old days and say a 4-0 win for Man City. Sheffield United take on Everton up next at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United really good point against Brighton after the start of the season they've had. Hopefully they'll see this as a bit of a boosting point against an Everton side who picked up a really great win against Arsenal, so they'll be on a high after that. And to be honest, I do think there is a bit too much in that Everton squad to take on Sheffield United, especially with John Lundstrom banned, so I'm going to say a 2-1 Everton win. Leeds take on Burnley at Ellen Road. Leeds will desperately want to rectify that embarrassing 6-2 loss to Man United. Burnley, they're doing okay. They seem to be picking up slightly at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I think this will be a really tight, cagey game here. Neither team will want to lose. Burnley, of course, still right down there at the bottom of the table. So I think it will be a cagey, edgy, narrow 1-1 draw. West Ham take on Brighton at the London Stadium. West Ham on a really good run at the moment, but did suffer a loss last time out. Brighton, yeah, they're doing okay at the moment, but they'll be really disappointed with that loss last time out, or it felt like a draw against Sheffield United. Sheffield United down to 10 players. They'll be wanting to back from that. Whether they will or not is a different question. I think West Ham do have a bit too much for them, so I'll say 2-0 to the Hammers. Liverpool take on West Bromwich Albion at Anfield, and we saw Liverpool at their best last time out, didn't we? Just a really impressive win against West Brom. Crystal Palace, 7-0 the score. And with West Brom's last match, I think they'll be fearing a really big score here. I don't think it will be a huge score, but of course I do think Liverpool will comfortably win. I'd urge anyone in the country to find someone who doesn't think Liverpool will comfortably win. I'll say 3-0. Wolves take on Tottenham next up in a game that I'm actually really looking forward to at Molineux. Tottenham really need a result after 1 point from the last 3 games. Wolves, they're doing okay at the moment. A bit hit and miss, like normal with Wolves. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it will be a stalemate. I think these two sides are so evenly matched. Spurs aren't on the greatest run at the moment, so I'm going to say a really entertaining 1-1 draw. Barnsley host Huddersfield in a Yorkshire derby on Boxing Day. Now this is an interesting one for me. Two teams that are really inconsistent. Huddersfield, great win over Watford. Barnsley, they did okay last time out. They huffed and puffed away to Swansea, but a result didn't come in the end. But Huddersfield, this is a tight game for me. They're just so both inconsistent. That means I can only really predict one result, a draw. Blackburn host Sheffield Wednesday next up at Ewood Park, and of course Blackburn are playing a bottom side, or a bottom half side, which of course gives them the advantage. But Sheffield Wednesday, great win last time out. They'll be really looking to build momentum, but there are crisis stories coming from there, and I don't think they will be able to continue the run. So I think it will be a 2-0 Blackburn win. Next up, Bournemouth host Millwall at the Vitality, and it really does look like Bournemouth and Norwich are starting to pull away. Norwich especially. Bournemouth, they'll be disappointed not to beat Luton last time out, but they'll still see this as a good opportunity against the Gary Rowett side. They aren't really in form. A disappointing 1-1 draw last time out. They'll be seeing that as a winnable game. But yeah, they'll want to get a win here to back that up. So I'll say 2-0 to Bournemouth. Next up, Bristol City host Wickham. Bristol City really is falling down the table at the moment. Got a bit of an injury crisis, if we're being honest. Wickham deserved point against QPR last time out. They possibly even could have won that one. So I don't know if they'll be happy or not. They do need to start picking up wins here, but I do think this will be a good game to play Dean Holden's team back into side. I just don't think Wickham have the strength. So I'm going to say a 2-0 win to Bristol City. Next up, Cardiff hosts Brentford in a game that I'm really looking forward to actually. Cardiff on a fairly good run at the moment, to be honest. They did okay last time out. Pretty solid result actually. Brentford beating Reading dominantly last time out. Cardiff lost to Norwich, of course, but Norwich are just so good at the moment. They performed okay, I thought, and I think they will get a result here. One apiece, I'll say. Coventry host Stoke next time out at St Andrews. Coventry, first loss in ages, and they'll be really disappointed against that. Sheffield Wednesday, sort of team they really need to be getting a result at just to stay out of trouble. Stoke, just outside the playoffs now. I bet them to get a good result here, but I think Coventry will be really wanting to bounce back after that. Mark Robins will be demanding their players to get a good result. So I actually think Stoke may be hold here. Derby host Preston next up. Ray Rooney's side on a really good little run. They'll be gutted that game against Rotherham got called off. Because they were on a really good roll before that. But anyway, Preston up next for them. It's a tough game, but for me, it's a winnable game. You just never know with Preston. On their day, they're absolutely brilliant. When they're not on their game, they're awful. Great win against Bristol City, but I think they'll be held here. Middlesbrough take on Rotherham next up at the Riverside. Middlesbrough, of course, moving into the top 6 with a win last time out over Birmingham. Dominant win as well. Rotherham, COVID cases, let's see how that affects them. But I think Middlesbrough will have a bit too much together in here. Neil Warnock's really got his team going. So I'm going to say a 2-0 Borough win. Yeah, I think it'll be fairly comfortable. Forest take on Birmingham. Now this has been an interesting game. Forest unbeaten 2 now. They really seem to be picking up little momentum under Chris Hughton. Birmingham, just an awful defeat. Questions starting to be asked of Aitor Kriyanka now as he travels to his former team. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do there. I think it will be a relatively close game. Neither team will want to lose at all. They'll be desperate not to lose. But I do think Forest will get the win here. I'm going to say 2-0. QPR take on Swansea at Loftus Road. Boxing Day, and this is going to be a really tough one for QPR. Some will say they were fortuitous to even get a point against Wickham on Saturday, and some will see it's time for a change of manager. Swansea on a really good run, good 2-0 win over Barnsley last time out, and I fully expect them to get a really comfortable win here, to be honest. I think it will be 2-0 to Swansea. Reading host Luton at the Medeski in what is a really interesting game. Luton, really good point against Bournemouth last time out. Reading lost the last two now, obviously suffering hugely with injuries, dropped out of the pass for the first time, but rumours Swift and Jow could be back, which would be a huge boost for them, and I'm going off that basis, and I'm going to say that because of that, Reading will be able to get a 2-0 dub. Watford take on Norwich in the last game of the game week. This is going to be a really interesting one. Watford, I have no idea what they're thinking of their new manager. Video coming out next week about that, but I think it's just totally baffling. Facing Norwich, who are just in such a good run of form. But, I think Watford may just get 1 or 2 game bounce from their new manager, so I do think it may be slightly fortuitous, but I do think they will pick up a point here. I'll say 1 apiece. But anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.